Good evening to our lovely viewers. Welcome to the platform. It's Wednesday again, and it's 20 hours. As usual, we have our discussion every Wednesday at 20 hours on the pages Pilato, both on Facebook and on YouTube, as well as on the page of PAGS on Facebook. We're glad that you've joined us. It's good to see you all, and it's good to have this discussion again. Remember to share the video, like it, leave a comment, but above all, join in the conversation, as we are going to share the link in the comment section like we do all the time, and then you'll be able to get to join through the link and share your comments about today's discussion. My name is Mumbi, as indicated on the screen, and I'm your host as usual again. Okay, so we're having a very interesting conversation today. We are talking about something interesting that we witnessed today. I know there are two major events that we witnessed today, but we're particularly talking about the issue of the peace treaties that were signed by political parties today. The other big event that we had today was the appointment of, or swearing in of judges, rather, which was done by the president this morning, afternoon. Somewhere there, not very sure with the hours, but yeah, around that time. So we had two major big events. Both were very interesting and both are important discussions, but today we're particularly focusing on the peace agreement that was signed by political parties today. And the question for today is that agreement that was signed by political parties today something that we can depend on? What are your thoughts? Now, we need to understand that there is nothing wrong with signing peace treaties. It's something that has been happening for years, since time immemorial. It's an initiative that we have seen from even bigger institutions such as the United Nations, which are global organizations. We have seen peace treaties being signed between two countries to come to terms over a particular issue, and usually it's in a case of war. We have also seen peace treaties be signed among political parties in other countries. It could be peace treaties among two groups that do not agree about the same thing, but at the bottom of it all, they decide to make peace and decide to find a common ground where they can both coexist, even if they may not agree on something, and put the cause as the most important thing beyond their personal gratifications. So today we saw an interesting event that happened this morning. The three mother bodies of the church, together in partnership with another organization, came together and decided to propose to the political parties that they should make the political parties sign the peace treaty. I think we can all agree that in the recent days we have seen a lot of political violence. This is an issue that we keep commenting on. Almost every time we have a show here, we keep talking about the political violence. We keep explaining, we keep talking about it, and we keep witnessing it in our communities. We have seen that in every election now, if at least majority of the political parties, of the elections rather, that we've had so far, on all levels, starting from the ward to the constituency and to the national level elections that we have been witnessing very high levels of political violence. And we know that usually when violence is at play, we are beginning to threaten our peace. Right now, we can see that the cases are becoming extreme, because even before the elections, we can already see very extreme cases of violence. But we also need to understand that the peace is not only threatened by violence. There are a lot of factors that can threaten peace, especially for a country like Zambia, which is a democracy and therefore believes in a democratic process, especially when it comes to the issue of leaders. We therefore carry out a method of elections which we use to elect leaders that begin to govern the country for a particular agreed upon term as per constitution of that country. So violence is just among the few things, it's just among the many things rather that threaten peace. For us, like I said earlier, a democratic country, we have things like election rigging that can be a threat to peace itself. We have things like elections that are not free and fair. I think if we can all remember from our basic civic education, these are things that we would always mention that can eventually end up in igniting some type of environment that threatens the peace of a country. And so today we're having that conversation, particularly trying to tackle into those things, and then also looking at how the political parties came together today and sign that, and just for us to understand, how do the people feel about it? Do they feel it's something that could work? Is it a solution to the things that we have been experiencing as a country right now, especially that we're only 27 days away from the date of the pause, which is on the 12th of August. Quite an interesting time, but also quite a sensitive time, because the environment is becoming extremely sensitive in all ways, economically, socially, politically, even worse. So I'll get to share the link in the comment section, and then we can head off our discussion by people jumping into the conversation and giving their thoughts about the signed agreement today. So I've posted the link in the comment section just now. If you can, please just press on the link for you to join in, and remember to please follow the rules of joining in. Make sure your camera is on and insert an identifiable name for me to be able to allow you to join in the conversation, and for people to be able to familiarize with you digitally while engaging with us. So please, let's try to follow those rules. I'm waiting for people to join in now. I've shared the link in the comment section. Click on the link for you to be able to join in and give your opinion. Getting back to the conversation we were having before I started talking about the link, we are talking about the peace agreement that was signed by political parties today. All political parties were present to sign for the agreement, which is quite progressive. I think I'm very happy about that. At least that shows that there are people who intend to be committed to the extent of signing. I'm not really sure to the extent of actually implementing the agreements that they have signed today, but at least we managed to see a good number of them be present to sign. Of course, the head of state, who is the leader of the ruling party, ECL, was not present. I'm sure maybe it was because of the swearing in of judges that was happening the same day as this. But they did send in their representatives, and they signed through Mr. Pomonga, and also there's the Patriotic Front Secretary General Davis Mwila. In my personal view is that I wished that the president would have actually gone there to sign, because I think this is a very important document. It's a beautiful thing for us to see more judges being sworn in. We have a lot of cases that have to be dealt in a very highly politically charged environment. We may have a lot of political cases, so it's good for us to have a good number of judges. But I think it would be good if we can begin to help them cut down the work by us as individuals and them as leaders of political parties to take even a step further to sign in these agreements and engaging with one another in one space, without anybody sending a representative, because this is a very sensitive issue. And for people to carry on the task effectively, it may mean that the leaders themselves may have to be present and begin to lead the conversation and the action of actually seeing the peace. I must also mention that as much as we have seen that the tradition of signing peace treaties is very common in the world now, because to some extent it helps to sort certain issues among two parties that may not be agreeing about a particular thing, it hasn't really proved to be the best solution. It's just one of the solutions that can help, and it's pretty much dependent on the players, on the major players of the issue, for the act itself to actually be implemented between or within the bodies or the parties that are involved. So with that thought, with that on the back of our thoughts, I would want to hear what your opinions are. What are your thoughts about the treaty? Can it be a solution to the current threats to our peace or experiences? So I'm beginning to add people. I'll start with the gentleman here, Mr. Kane. I don't know if you can hear me, sir. Your camera is not on. Mr. Philip, if you can hear me, I've just added you to our live stream on the platform. Please. Mr. Philip was trying to join, but it seems, unfortunately, he's unable to be active because we're having some background voices. So I'll add Mr. Aubrey Kasabo. Good evening, sir. How are you? Mr. Aubrey, are you able to hear me? Mr. Aubrey, you've been added.
Fine, thank you. How are you?
Okay, great. I'm glad you can hear me now. I'm okay. You've been added to the live stream. Give your comment
Yes, I can
about
hear you.
Please.
Hello.
Mr. Aubrey, we can hear you. I'm asking if I'm telling you that you can go ahead.
I think the network is not okay. I think the network is not okay.
Okay, so I'll remove you from the stream and then just try to rejoin, and then I'll get to add you to the live stream again. Okay, so the second person who joined us also failed to successfully contribute. I've added Mr. Max. Mr. Max, good evening, sir. I hope you can hear me. How are you?
Good evening, thank you. I'm all right, thank you. How are you too?
I'm all right. Good to see you joining us tonight. What's your contribution to today's conversation?
We thank God and we appreciate even for this conversation. You people are doing a great job, and we need to see more youths coming on board and work together so that we can see how we can grow together as a Zambia. For it is one Zambia, one nation. One thing that I would love to contribute concerning the event that happened today. Unfortunate that these people were not all in attendance, because we really want our parents to come together, and the reason where they put heads together and help one another, because in as much as they are different from ideology, it's not the fact that they should be against each other. Life is all about understanding what others are saying, together with the critics that can also come from the people that may not be in the line that we are thinking. So it's unfortunate again that most of these events have really happened in our country several times, just on the paper, not actually in an action. If I can tell you, I still remember one of my friends was attacked because of just lifting a hand to some people that were arguing over a certain political party, and he just lifted his hand to say, "I think I opt for this." So just because of that symbol he lifted, some people were against him, and privately he was hunted. All those things can only be done if our parents, I call them our parents because they are our leaders. So if they can just come together and set aside all the differences and look at this is Zambia and not political party, then it can be fine. Than sending people to represent them or maybe shining off from attending to such events, again, it sends another signal. Because the question that somebody like me will have is why? And why did not our parent come together and iron up issues? Because it starts with them. You and I, we can talk here, but trust me, it starts with our parents to sit down and see to it that these people, they iron up everything together. I can still remember our late president, Mr. Levy Patrick Mwana, also rest in peace, where he had to court to say, if you are not arrested for doing violence as a cadre, then I'm not a president. We need our parents to reach on such levels, because by doing that, even if you love your children, it doesn't mean you hate them. It doesn't mean you don't want to protect them. No, you hate what may be portrayed by them. You hate
Okay, it seems we've lost Mr. Max. Mr. Innocent, good evening, sir. Good to see you. How are you? Unmute your mic.
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm okay. Good to see you joining us tonight. What's your comment on today's discussion?
All right. So my take is, first I'll tell you to say, like you earlier mentioned, to say this is a very important, step, and it might not be the only solution. There are several other solutions out there, but it's critical because we've seen this being signed by different, institutions. Some of them are global institutions. So what my take is, every political leader should have taken a step to personally be there, to sign the tweet as a way of sending a message to their, political supporters or cadres, wherever they might be. Also, I feel even those, other political parties where they think they might have not been involved in political violence, I think their presence also should have been, there, so that they're able to advise where they're able to advise, and also their supporters can take it as a serious matter, so that in future they don't, get to be involved in such acts. I say this because I find this to be very interesting, because it doesn't just affect our political, activities leading up to the elections, but this also affects a number of, issues, including economic issues. We live in a global economy, in a one, interdependent world, where we want to see firms, for example, from other countries investing in our country. And I believe peace is one of the, drivers that can drive investment in our country. It can also drive out investment from our country if our current investors notice that their investment is not actually safe in our land. So we need to really take this as a serious matter. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Innocent. You bring out very, very important points, and I'm glad that you said them. Otherwise, I was going to make use of them at the end of the program. But we appreciate your contribution, and please stay tuned. Make sure to leave the comments for us as you leave the live stream.
Sure.
So I'll bring back Mr. Eric. I've brought you back to the stream because you're already speaking before you cast. So quickly finish your thoughts so that we allow. Oh, sorry, Mr. Max. finish your thought, and then we can allow Mr. Eric to also jump in. He's been in the waiting room for quite some time. Unfortunately, your mic is on mute, so you have to remove you have to unmute your mic, and then you can be able to join in.
Okay, you can hear me now, I think.
Yes, we can. So please go ahead and finish your thoughts.
In conclusion, I'm saying as a country, it has to start with our parents who are politicians so that they can also show us the goal of this country. What's the goal of this country? Where are we heading to? At the end of the day, we've seen people who fought for our independence, who are our independence, who are not even there. They are gone, but they had a goal. They left us. They left us with a goal. So even them, what legacy are they leaving? Are they leaving a legacy of someone being pricked an eye? Are they leaving a legacy of someone remaining with a broken arm? What of the very person who has been attacked, supposed to be the next president in the next future? Then how are we going to have a right person? So we are asking actually for our parents. They are our parents and we love them. Actually, we get inspired through them. So my prayer is that may they have a clear dialogue which will remain as a legacy. Even us at one point we use it to say our parents had to sit down and left this legacy for us. They had some different issues, but they had to sit down and dialogue everything. Otherwise, it was a recommendable job that people came together, and those that came together, we hope to see the fruits of this event which happened. I thank you.
Sir, thank you very much for joining in and giving your contribution. It's very powerful and very valued. We hope to see you again next time, and please stay tuned as we continue with the conversation.
Thank you. I'm grateful.
You're welcome. Good evening, Mr. Eric. You've been in the waiting session for quite some time. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
We are very fine and very happy to see you. How is the weather?
Yeah.
And give us your contribution about today's discussion.
The weather is cool. And my contribution on the today's topic is that we are glad to see our readers and the political parties readers that they went and signing a peace. Our concern as youth of this country is that we need to see our readers in that manner, which is well recommendable. And I also want to recommend the church and other institutions that made it possible for that meeting to happen. But we need it that it come from our own leaders that are involved in that in this political violent which is happening. We need to see it from our leaders that themselves they sit down together and have a talk in how to end this political violence which is happening.
Yeah.
Not whereby we are just waiting for other institutions to come in and help out for them to reconcile. We need them to teach us youth in how to handle the country, how to handle political violence, but they are teaching, and it was on a sad note to my side. I wanted to see the leader of the ruling party to be also in present at that event, but we couldn't see him there. But yeah, the representative came, but we still need more, whereby the leader of the ruling party and other opposition leaders to meet and have a talk and reconcile on some of the issues And from there, as youth from this country will learn something. We'll be able to see that, okay, on top there is this. Even here on the grassroots, it will be easy for us youth to handle this violence which is taking place in our country. And I want also to remind the youth, also to encourage each and every youth of this country that as we go to the election time, let us not involve ourselves into violence. Let us learn from the daughters and sons of our leaders which are not involved in those violence. But it's us youth from just in political parties, we are killing each other, beating each other, and we are earning nothing at the end of the day. Their daughters and the sons, they're just home. Now it's us who are in just doing what which is not needed at the end of the day. And that's my point which I can raise from today's topic. I think it was great also to see those people meeting and doing whatever they did that side. I just want to recommend them that they shouldn't end from there. Let it happen, and we want to see more coming ahead before we go to the voting day. Thank you, madam.
Thank you very much, Mr. Eric. I'm glad that you've remembered to call upon the youths to end the political violence themselves and at least emulate the sons and daughters of the leaders who are never present in these fights. Otherwise, thank you for your contribution, and please stay tuned and keep engaging through the comment section.
Thank you.
Okay, so that was Mr. Eric Wato, who just jumped in as well and gave his contribution. And like I'm from telling him, I'm glad that he's had to ring the reminder to say, look, as young people, let's try not to get involved in these issues, especially those that involve violence. We should try to emulate the sons and daughters of the same leaders who are never there when such acts are happening. They're never in the forefront. We never even see them. We don't even know them. If at all we know them, we all know they're doing better and not anywhere near the violence that we witness within our political parties, but also in our communities. I would also want to agree with much of the suggestions that have been shared by those who joined us, that by those who've already joined us, who are saying, I think it was very important, it was going to be very important to see the head of state be present at today's peace signing agreement. I pretty much respect the job that he went to do today. It's important that we have judges and we give our judiciary much of the deserving respect. But I think as a leader, he should have been present to, enforce his power as a president and ensure that he's ready to lead, even in such a conversation. I think for him, as the leader of the ruling party and as the president, I still find it unfair and very, very disturbing that he didn't get to be there and sign the agreement himself. The idea of him being there is not to prove that he can do other things. No, it's for him to prove that even if what he's being called for is not something that he would want, but as long as it's for the people, he would be ready to show up for such an event. And particularly on this one, I think we as Zambians, as far as the peace we enjoy, I know we have seen a lot of videos which talk about how amazing Zambia's peace is. Today we saw a video that was being shared about a comment that was coming in from Europe on one of their discussions where they were saying Zambia is even the Switzerland of Africa. Of course, those comments are amazing, but it's unfair for us as citizens to be having an otherwise lifestyle compared to what people are talking about. We have a particular standard of peace that we have always maintained. And I think as a citizenry, that's what we want to maintain. Therefore, we do not want to celebrate a comment. We want to celebrate a reality that the people are living. Of course, it may be the statements may be the scapegoat for those who are perpetrating acts that are threatening our peace and saying, "Oh no, they've actually said we're a peaceful country." They are using that as a scapegoat. But we are people who've lived in this country and we know exactly what having peace is. We've lived it before. We know what it is. And when we're complaining because that particular peace that we have known and we've enjoyed is being compromised by particular groups of people whose interest is power, and that's where the problem comes in. So it's not that we do not appreciate the peace that we see, or we're not happy to hear when the world talks about the type of peace that we have, but we are saying we are not immune to having a country that would start looking like the next Sudan, that will start looking like the next that will start looking like the next country that has got extreme war. As long as we are finding, or as long as we're implementing acts that are a recipe of confusion, we can lose that peace. And I must say that peace, because it's so good, it's one of the easiest things to lose, especially when you take it for granted. And that's what people are asking for. It's not that we don't know that we have the peace, but it's that we do not want anyone to compromise it and make us feel okay about the compromised peace that we have. We don't want to be okay with political violence as much as people are praising Zambia to be peaceful. We don't have to compromise and begin to accommodate threats in our country. We don't want to accommodate the ideas of small economies being broken down by cadres because now they have the power to go and harass marketeers, booth owners, collecting money from them, demanding a lot of money from bus stations. You know, they're affecting all these people that are key players to our community economies. And once you break our community economies, I don't know how you expect your people to suffer. Because peace, as it is now defined, it's not only the absence of war, it's about people failing to achieve, a country rather failing to achieve social justice. That could be a threat to peace. And when you have a nation and a people that are putting in an effort to ensure that they are able to provide certain things for themselves in order for them to achieve the social justice on their personal level, it's unfair that a group of people who just feel entitled because they're affiliated to particular parties can go and begin to harass them and break down those economies, because you are building this group of people that's going to be angry and will demand for what was gotten from them, and we may lose the peace just like that. I'll be adding to the stream Mr. Andrew. Mr. Andrew, yes, I've caught you off guard looking at the TV. Good evening. we can't hear you. I don't know if you're speaking yet or not.
Actually getting you.
Great. I'm working with I've caught you off guard looking at the TV. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm fine. We are glad to have you here. Please give us your contribution about today's conversation.
Okay, thank you. For me, my greatest concern over the political violence that we have in our country, I think the meeting that actually happened today, yes, it happened, but then if this issue is not sorted out from the political party cadres themselves, then I don't think we are heading somewhere. I think one thing they should implement is that whenever a political cadre is trying to bring in issues of conflict here and there, I think the first step they should take is by suspending that individual from the party. Because you and me today agree that political violence in our country is mostly caused by these cadres on the ground who take advantage of whatever political party, either in power or in opposition, and they feel they have power to do whatever they want to do. So I think the only way we could end political violence in our country is by these political leaders standing firm, to suspend any of their political cadres who are busy bringing confusion in the country. Zambia is a peaceful nation, and hence we must be peaceful. I hope really that
the conference that took place today, the peace meeting, I hope it will be implemented even in their political parties. I think that's the contribution I had for this wonderful discussion.
Mr. Andrew, thank you very much for your contribution. And I'm glad that you highlighted that the sign in itself is not enough, but political parties have a bigger job to do. And that's within their political parties. And I totally agree with that. So thank you for your contribution. So continue joining us in the comment section. Don't leave. Otherwise, I'll catch you again off guard in the comment section. So please make sure you are still tuned in. All right. Mr. Eric, so I saw you in the waiting room and I was wondering, I said that
Otherwise, I was just hearing other people's views. But
okay.
Yes. But I wanted to again to just to speak a little bit.
Go ahead.
As the okay, like from the previous speaker, as he has put it, it's that our readers and as citizen, we shouldn't. It must come from us to stop this political violence. Yes, I also see the problem from us because our readers themselves, though they can argue in speeches or maybe in some hate speeches, which they actually do, and we see that, but we never see them in physical fight or whereby they are fighting each other. But it's on us citizens or the youth, the cadres, who are doing that, and it must come from us. We need to stop that, and each and everyone, each and every life of the human beings, it matters, and we need to care for one another, but not whereby just someone is coming from another political party, is that person you consider him as an enemy to you, you want now to fight, to kill, which is not good. It must also come from us citizens, us youth, each and everyone. We need also to stop this. And the other thing, this cadreism which has taken place in this country, it must come to an end, because each and every time, even these bus drivers and the conductors, they're now, their job is becoming difficult to operate in this bus station and even on the road, because you find that just coming from a compound, going in town, a bus conductor, he must, each and every way he needs to give a money to a cadre. By the time you reach in town, you find that these people, they have given almost 100 to 200 just going into town. Again, coming back, they will still do the same. Now, at the end of the day, they need to go and do a cash out to the owner of the bus and themselves. So their job has become so difficult. We need also to commend our readers so that they can come in and help out to stop this cadreism which is going out in this country, to stop it immediately, because it has given other people to work in that condition which is not good. I think that is my point which I wanted to give at the end of this conversation. Thank you for hosting me. Thank you. See you next time.
Thank you, Mr. Eric. Yeah, so that was Mr. Eric rejoining us to just finish off his thought. I made him run a bit quick the first time he spoke because we had a long queue on the waiting list. But just to get back to our conversation that we're having today, which is political parties agreed to be peaceful. What are your thoughts? I'll still be sharing my thoughts while I still wait for a lot of you to join in. In fact, let me get to read a few comments and get to comment on some of your thoughts that you shared in the comment section. So I'll start with there's one particular one that caught my eye. This comment coming from Kevin Skagoma. Kevin says the pledge has come too late. It should have covered the campaigns as well. The benchmark of violence has already been set. ZCID is sleeping. ZCID is sleeping. Where are they? The election is already here. This comment is quite interesting, and I think I would want to hear what people's thoughts are. Kevin says this argument comes in too late. To some extent, I also feel this has come in too late. I think the argument should have been signed before. We've already seen quite extreme levels of violence that should have been dealt with. But also, I still want us to still talk about what then should be the contribution of the law for a country like Zambia, that's which is a democratic state, and at least claims to strictly follow the constitution. I know it's still perfecting. That's key as a country. We have law enforcers such as the police who've got a mandate to keep law and order. But yet we're signing peace treaties. A comrade of mine, before we started this conversation, said, in the first place, why are we signing peace agreements? Did we at first agree to be violent? Which is a very important question. And I feel it very much merges with this comment in particular that I've put on the screen. This has already come too late. If at all we had agreed to have violence, this has already come too late because we needed to earlier, right the time the campaigns were starting, because we had already witnessed some levels of violence before the campaign started. So this conversation should have started before. But we still commend the job of the church and the rest of the organizations that came in to see that they bring these political parties together and make them sign this agreement. And I've just added my all-time favorite person of this show. The most committed person has been commenting from the first time we aired this show, Mr. Oscar. Good evening. How are you?
Hello. Good evening. Good evening, and how are you?
We are okay. Good to see you. How is Italy?
Thank you so much. It is beautiful. Today it has been very hot, 30 degrees, but we have some fresh air blowing, so it is quite a beautiful day.
Great. I'm sure you've been following the conversation. I know you are that loyal. So please give us your...
I follow, you know, being a Catholic, of course, we are taught not to have idols. We don't have to have idols, but I have to confess, Pilato is my idol.
I'll successfully deliver that message.
Pilato is my idol. Very, very courageous gentleman, very correct.
Amazing.
Yeah, so I really envy his courage, and also I think also you are a very good presenter as well. So my compliments to you as well.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, so I just wanted to contribute to a short contribution. Maybe two things. Allow me to contribute on two aspects.
Yeah.
The violence during the campaign. It's not difficult. The violence, to curb violence, it's not difficult. The problem with the violence, I am sorry to say, but it's better I don't tell lies like Chishimba Kambwili. I don't want to emulate people like Chishimba Kambwili who tell lies to the people. So We want peace. Zambia is a peaceful country. And we want peace. The violence, the political violence, can be stopped by only one man. My dear sister, we have gone to school, I think. I know that the PF, they have reduced people who have studied as if we have become criminals. We have gone to school, we have done our graduations, we have studied a lot, but it seems as if we don't have any position in the lifestyle of our current government. It is very sad. I'm sad about that. Right. So the first thing is this peace, the peace in the country can be stopped or can be tolerated by our Republican president. Sorry, I think somebody is trying to disturb my conversation. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Right. So I am saying the only one who can stop the violence in Zambia is our Republican president, Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu. If he wants tonight, he can stop the violence. Full stop. He stops Kalimantian group to stop harassing the innocent people. He stops the thugs, the people at these stations. Come on, you people, please. Kwena twalisambidilako kwena mwe bantu mfweni kona amasambidilo twasambidila mule mfwako mwe bantu. So our president, me, I am challenging him. I challenge everyone, even the PF. They are PF people. I know PF friends. I have PF who are my friends. I have UPND who are my friends. But I'm a responsible Zambian people who would like our country to prosper. Zambia to prosper. That is my interest. So, the peace president, Edgar Chagwa Lungu, the commander-in-chief, can bring peace. Today, was he there to sign that peace?
No.
Yeah. So, in psychology, which I like very much, I like psychology, they say 30% of the said, the word that I pronounce, 30% is correct. 65% is hidden through my teeth. 65%. So 30%, our president was not present. We have, you and me, we have to try and find out what is the meaning of the 65% which is hidden.
A very thought-provoking question. What's the 65% that is hidden? Believe me, I'm so eager to know. But because it's you and my usual commentator, I want to ask you this question.
Yes.
If we take us to sign peace agreements to have this peace, then where does the law come in?
The law?
Where does the law come in? Because I believe for a country like Zambia, with the laws as we claim to follow, as we always call upon the police will do the job. Where are they fitting in if we will have to sign agreements in order for people to observe the peace that is a much right given to us constitutionally?
Unfortunately, the law is not taking its course in Zambia. Everyone knows that. The law is not taking its course, my dear. I'm sorry to say that, but I don't know the reason. I would like to ask the president himself the reason. Why has the law gone so shallow in Zambia? Why? I have my own reasons, my dear, but I don't want to answer because I think it is not correct. I am not a leader at the moment in Zambia. I would love to ask the leaders why Why the law has just gone so shallow in Zambia? When you break a law, they arrest you, they prosecute you, and if you are supposed to be put in prison, you are put in prison. If you are supposed to be free, you are free. It's very simple, very simple. We learned this since 1964.
Yeah.
Many years have passed, my dear friend. Many years have passed. I am not going to accept. Some people are going to say, no, you people, you think that because of your studies. Yes,
Yeah.
I am proud of my studies. My friend, I am proud. Nobody's going to take that pride from me. Yes. Okay, that is the first observation. The second one.
Yeah.
You know, it is very sad that even our police themselves, they are not free to conduct their responsibilities very freely.
Yeah.
And it is very sad. Our friends here, our police who are friends, our police who have come to Zambia to visit, we know what is happening in Zambia. And they are threatening. My dear, they are threatening us. As I am talking to you now, I don't want to mention my brothers and sisters because they will be under threat of the PF cadres. I won't mention. They know me and they know my brothers and sisters. But of course, because I respect them, I'm just putting a comment. I'm putting on a comment without insulting no one. But I don't want even to say a lie. I'm trying to say the truth. We want the peace. Let the president tomorrow announce if the police are corrupt, if the Zambia police are unable to carry the function, please, let's engage the Zambia army. Italy, my dear sister, Italy have used the Italian army for peace. For peace. For I was being injected the COVID vaccines to me was given by an army for peace. Not for beating people, but for peace. Okay, Zambia police have failed. Let's engage the Zambia army for peace to safeguard you as a journalist, my dear sister. You need to work very freely. You need to report the truth to the Zambian people. Otherwise, why do we call ourselves a democratic country? Why can't we change and we start calling ourselves a communist country where you and me, we are not free to express our views? Why?
Mr. Oscar, I'll have to cut you. Your comments are always brief according to your statements, but never brief when you actually give them. So thank you for joining in. We'll be waiting for you next week on Wednesday.
Yes, please. Thank you so much. Greetings from Italy. All the best.
All right. Okay. Now, Patty, you've been in the waiting room for quite some time. Comrade, please switch on your camera. We are waiting for you so that you give us your contribution. You'll probably be the last contributor for today because we still have.
Comrade Mumbi, how are you?
I'm okay, comrade.
Yeah, I'm just tired. I'm confused.
Okay, so I'm receiving some. No. I don't know why. Okay, I think he's just had an internet breakdown. We'll wait for him to rejoin. But before I allowed Mr. Pomo to come in, we were reading a few comments and giving reactions to them. Giving reactions to them. We ended on this on this comment particularly that I was commenting on, where Mr. Kevin gave his comment to say he feels this is late. It was supposed to be done way back before the campaign started, which I totally agree, because I think they are bringing in to come and solve a problem that is that's actually still skyrocketing. I think this should have been a conversation that all political parties should have in fact had before the campaign started, so that we don't get to find ourselves having to make decisions midway. Because remember, we're not sure if these cadres have been able to see this, hear this, or if at all their political party members will be able to reach them with this news, and if at all they will listen. And that is where the importance of the president comes in. His presence is an authority itself, and it was going to be important for him to spearhead this act, not members of the opposition. We appreciate the effort of the opposition and the roles they play in this country, but for a person who is actually holding the power that is being competed upon, should have been present to enforce this idea in the people. His presence at this event was going to be an automatic command, not only to the political party, but to the entire country, that there is a law that is present, and we must all obey it. And him, as a first citizen of this country, should have been there to start the conversation and show the commitment. Because if himself is not present, believe me, optics are very important. If he himself is not present, I don't know how we expect his party members to take this seriously. Because remember, it's almost all the time that we see it and hear that political parties have camps. We're not sure if all the camps that are found in political parties actually do respect the Secretary General or the President, Mr. President, who is a party member. We are not sure of how much control they have. But him as a president has almost control over everyone in his political party. That's why it was very important that he himself, as a leader of this country and as a leader of the ruling party, should have been present to come and sign the agreement himself. We hope to see better, because I think more and more we will end up being accused to say, okay, maybe because we're activists, we're just against. But no, look, let's try to learn from other countries. If you've been following the global news and you've taken some time to look at what's happening in Canada, you will see the Prime Minister himself, Mr. Justin Trudeau. He's taken the lead in having the conversation with the native people of Canada, and they're literally calling them the owners of the land, spearheading all the agreements that they're having. They're not sending a minister. They're not sending a home affairs minister. They're not sending a tradition and chiefs minister. No, these people are traditional people who are owners of the land called Canada. But he's leading the conversation, trying to bring a command to the citizens that we must give the respect that we give to ourselves to the owners of this land. And just by him appearing, you can see the support that he's receiving from the Canadian citizens. Of course, I'm not praising him to be a perfect person. Of course, they have their own issues as a country, and they have their own criticism that they give to their prime minister. But what the world is seeing is somebody taking the lead in amending an act that hurts the people years ago. And that's what we're asking for. We want to see a leader taking the lead in the conversations that are affecting the people, because we know that a threat to peace is a threat to everything. It's a threat to our social justice. It's a threat to our economy. It's a threat to everything that literally supports the standing of the country. Peace is the best of everything that we are right now. The investments that we're bragging about, the good relationships that we're able to have with people who are not citizens of this country, is all being harnessed by peace. Look at what's happening in South Africa. Of course, it's not a conversation for today, but you can see the impact of the violence that lasted for so long that even up to today, for you to go to SA, you can literally hear the conversations among people. You have to be warned 10, 12 times about walking out of your hotel room, about walking out without telling someone, about walking out without knowing that you are safe enough. And that is some serious impact that comes when you mess with the peace of the people. And I keep saying we are not immune to becoming what South Africa is today that we're witnessing. We're not immune in becoming the next Sudan. We're not immune to becoming the next Iraq, to becoming the next Libya. We're not immune. As long as we keep using the same recipe that took them to that step that threatened their peace, we cannot claim to be immune. We can be the next victim of serious insecurities as a country. And by the way, also lack of peace can literally be a huge contributor to having a security crisis as a country at all levels. I'll get to react to a few comments that have been shared by you, our viewers today. We're already in the last minute, so we'll be closing our show very soon. This is a comment coming from Mr. Brown, and is appreciating all those that created the time to support and agree with the movement of the peace in our country. The story remains with those who didn't attend the event. To be honest, it's really sad that other people or political leaders rather don't see the need for the peace to be cardinal thing in our nation. God bless those who participated. I agree. I do commend the church for coming up with this step. I think it was really needed way back before now, but we appreciate the church and ZCID for proposing this idea, and we appreciate those that managed to attend and actually managed to sign. Okay, so I'll read. Let me see how many comments. Yeah, so I'll read the last few comments, and then we'll get to closing the night. We're already a minute ahead. So this comment is quite arguable. It's coming from a gentleman called Melita, and he says, firstly, there is nothing like our fathers or our mothers. These are fellow citizens who have given themselves up for leadership. Let's address them as political leaders or political crooks if they fall below the standard. Secondly, the peace signing is one of those hypocritical attempts to deceive the masses. Real peace is signed on the ground, signed in the communities, and is expressed not on paper or verbal affirmation, but an action that reflects the intentions to live in peace with all. I totally agree. And believe me, I'll have to bring this comment back because it will probably finish off. It will probably be my closing remark because that's clearly my position about what's happening today. Mr. Tsenga, I'm reading this comment particularly because you had to join in, but I believe your network failed you, and it said, if us, the youths who are used as tools of violence, have the impetus and courage to ask these savage leaders to bring along their wives and children to violence with us, aka I'm telling you, violence can minimize to a notable level. I totally agree. For once, if we can call them to come as families and join the young people in being key players as well, and making sure that they are also part of the team that is becoming violence, I think it would be a good idea. Otherwise, ladies and gentlemen, this is my closing remark. And I totally agree with this gentleman. I believe we need to start addressing these leaders as leaders. The mere idea that will make them feel like they are our parents is the reason why they feel like they can do what they want because we are under them. But as far as we are concerned, nobody's above the land. And the Constitution will reign all the time. It remains the supreme law of the land, and everyone else must bend to the demands of the Constitution. And therefore, we only have leaders described who lead a country in our Constitution, and no mother and no father. We do observe our morals, but our morals are sustained by ensuring that the leaders themselves spearhead the idea of observing the law, not only observing, but actually acting in accordance with the law. Otherwise, as a citizen, we have no option but to protect ourselves with the Constitution or any means necessary and safe for our country. We should therefore address them as leaders. The signing is hypocritical. I totally agree. As long as we don't see this on the ground, I don't think we should be signing anything. Otherwise, it will be one of those things that we enjoy doing all the time, which is putting things on paper and not executing them. Otherwise, it's been a great time having you all tonight. Thank you for joining in and having this conversation with us. We'll see you again next week. I've been your host. My name is Mumbi. And because I was co-representative, I'll probably have to introduce myself. I'm as well an activist. So, yeah, pretty much that. My name is Mumbi. Good to see you tonight, and see you again next week, same time, same place.